Hello, I am Barbara Lamb, your instructor for the course Varieties of Extraterrestrial Encounters. I am a psychotherapist in practice in Southern California. I am a licensed therapist, a certified hypnotherapist, and regression therapist. I've been doing this work for many, many years. I am currently the president of a professional group of therapists who work with this subject. This is the Academy of Clinical Close Encounter Therapists. The initials for that group are ACCET. I am also currently a board member and editor for an online journal about the extraterrestrial encounter subject, and that is called the Journal of Abduction Encounter Research, a very interesting collection of papers written by a variety of people. I am also a speaker at many different groups, large conferences, and all kinds of groups with this interest in mind, across the United States and in Canada, in England many times, and in Belgium. I have been interviewed many times for television programs, radio interviews, and even films on the subject of extraterrestrial encounters. Beginning in 1991, I began doing regressions with people who were having very strange experiences that puzzled them and in many cases troubled them. And it turned out that those were encounters with extraterrestrial beings. We've had many, many details come from those regressions. Since beginning this part of my work in 1991, I have regressed several hundred separate individuals to this type of encounter. Many of them have been able to do many regressions, and the regressions total approximately 1,900 regressions to extraterrestrial encounter experiences. I'm going to be giving in this course pictures of a whole variety of extraterrestrial beings, because there are many, many different types that people encounter. I'm going to show you just a few of those pictures right now. This is a picture of a very typical extraterrestrial being, very often called a little gray being, with the big eyes and the big head, the spindly little body. There are many varieties, actually, of these gray types of beings. This is an example of a taller gray being, and there are also bronze-colored beings and blue beings and various types that look similar to this. Here is a group of beings similar to each other and yet with some differences, and in the lower right-hand corner is what we call a hybrid being, a mixture of human reproductive material and extraterrestrial reproductive material. This is one of many examples of unusual procedures done to an experiencer by various extraterrestrials. In this particular case, this woman is having information downloaded from her brain. This is just one of many procedures. This particular one is a harmless procedure. It's just for educating these beings as to many experiences that people have had that this particular woman knows about, because she has been conducting regressions with many, many experiencers. In this course, we will be discussing how to determine the reality or non-reality of these encounter experiences. We'll be also talking about many common characteristics that so many people experience in these encounters. We'll also be spending considerable time on lesser-known aspects of this phenomenon. For instance, we'll be talking about family encounters, with many members of the family experiencing these encounters. We'll talk about children's types of extraterrestrial encounters and the education and the training that they learn in these encounters. We'll also be talking about lifelong relationships that certain people have with a particular group of extraterrestrials, and even with one individual extraterrestrial. Very often people will have a mentor who will be continuing to guide them throughout their lifetime. We'll also be talking about many different kinds of relationships that people have with extraterrestrials. We'll be talking about witnessed abductions, the beginning or the end of an abduction that somebody else has actually seen happening. We'll be talking about unusual procedures that people experience with these beings, procedures that probably most people have never even heard of. We'll be talking about the whole reproduction program between certain groups of extraterrestrials and the human beings with whom they are encountering. And we'll notice the reason why, at least the reasons given by the beings as to why they do this reproductive program. We'll be answering the question, why me? Why is a given person having these experiences, whereas maybe other people they know are not having these encounters? We discover that some people have been extraterrestrials themselves in previous lifetimes. And that's one reason why they're having the experiences now in this lifetime. We're going to be talking a good deal about positive extraterrestrial encounters, encounters which the experiences of them feel are really wonderful. In many cases, very educational. In many cases, they're being healed of physical problems by these beings. In other cases, they're being trained to do healing with fellow human beings. And they're highly trained in psychic skills. They're very often downloaded with extremely interesting information, sometimes very helpful technological information. Many people experience that they have missions here on Earth that are guided and encouraged by the extraterrestrials who work with them. Some people have even discovered that they are delegates to large council meetings that are comprised of many, many different types of extraterrestrial beings. These are very fascinating experiences. We notice that many people are receiving information from extraterrestrials in various ways, sometimes through channeling, sometimes when they are very, very deeply in an unconscious state, even unable to be awakened by somebody else. But they're receiving an incredible amount of very useful information. We discover also unusual things, such as a person having a dual identity. That means that most of the time in the person's awareness, he is here on Earth living a regular human life. But through the regressions, he realizes that on some occasions, during these encounters anyway, he is actually on board a spaceship with other beings doing various things, and that for that portion of time he is one of those extraterrestrial beings himself. That too is a very intriguing aspect of this whole phenomenon. And many people have wonderful spiritual transformational experiences with these beings. They feel unconditionally loved. They feel clairsentient, all because of being taken to certain spiritual locations and spiritual beings by the extraterrestrials. Lastly, we will talk about the process of therapy and how that can be extremely helpful for experiencers of the extraterrestrial encounter phenomenon. Thank you.